Next question is from Assembly Member Kurten and relates to freedom of speech.
Thank you, Chair. I can confirm that a man was arrested outside Southgate Station on the 23rd of February as a result of a complaint made by a member of the public. He was later released without charge. It's been widely reported that Mr. El-Hassani was arrested and subsequently de-arrested and released by the police at a different location some distance from the place of arrest. Following the police's handling of this matter, a complaint has been received and this has now been reviewed by the Borough's Professional Standards Unit. I expect the police to take this matter seriously and can write to members once an update on these investigations has been received. As there is a complaint that has been investigated, it would be inappropriate for me to comment on the specific case. I will say this, Chair. It's always been clear that freedom of speech is critical and must be protected, but also the police must be able to investigate when allegations are made of a criminal offence. Police officers have to strike a difficult balance on this issue on a regular basis and in complex circumstances such as policing protests and public order incidents. The Commissioner and Met Police officers appreciate these sensitivities and take these duties seriously. The Commissioner and I both believe that the law should be applied equally to all Londoners, irrespective of their background and beliefs, and without fear or favour. As part of this, our police officers are rightly expected to always uphold the high standards.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Mayor, and I'm glad you're saying that you will uphold freedom of speech, and that's a very, very important right that we have in this country. There were some things which I and many other people found very disturbing about the arrest of Mr. El-Hassani. And first of all, his Bible was taken away from him and he was accused of being racist. You say you can't comment on that specific case, but is there guidance to the police in dealing with street preachers or Christian street preachers like Mr. El-Hassani so that this kind of thing won't happen again?
I want to be very careful not to talk about this because there's an ongoing complaint, but I'm a firm advocate of freedom of expression, freedom of speech. It's enshrined in the Human Rights Act. Article 10 is quite clear about this. You look at the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, that is also quite clear about this. And there are balances to be struck, and I appreciate the police have got an incredible difficult job when it comes to policing protests and banners being held up, or a situation where a complaint's been made from a member of the public, and often they make split-second decisions. It's not for me to second-guess that decision taken in the heat of the moment at that difficult time. And the considerations they've got in relation to public order offences or breach of the peace. And so, you know, all I can say to the Assembly Chair is I understand the importance of upholding this really important freedom. It's also a common law freedom, by the way, not simply a statute freedom. And in this particular case, once I've got an update, I'm happy to write to not just the Assembly member, but others if others have an interest, to give them the outcome and stuff. But I understand why this question's been raised. I can understand the concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I mean, I would appreciate you writing to me, but there is another thing that maybe you can answer in a general term, is that, and this is in the public domain, that originally there was a statement put out that he was walked 200 metres and then de-arrested, but the statement was then later changed, and the police are now saying that he was driven some miles away and then left a long way away from the scene where he was arrested, and then de-arrested, so he hadn't done anything wrong. Is that something that you think is acceptable, or is that something that you think shouldn't be happening?
Well, Chair, again, I've got to be very careful because I've been asked to comment on the case about which has been made a complaint. In general terms, the police often will remove somebody who maybe causes a breach of the peace away from the area to prevent a breach of the peace. I'm talking in general terms. And the police may do that to avoid having to make an arrest and a charge and a prosecution. It just takes heat out of the situation. I simply can't comment on this particular case, and one of the things that the investigation of the complaint will be looking into is the appropriateness or otherwise of the police's action, including proportionality as well.
Okay. Going back to the issue of freedom of speech, I mean, there have been street preachers from many different religions in the city for many, many years, centuries even, particularly Christian street preachers. Now there's a worry, a fear among people that the freedom of speech that you speak about is being undermined. I mean, would you be able to say that Christian street preachers are able, they have the freedom of speech to read from any part of the Bible in the city without fear of being arrested?
One of the great things living in a democracy is this ability to debate and discuss and have discussion, sometimes an argument. That's one of the joys of living in London, and we should protect that. And it's a special thing we've got. The challenge the police have is sometimes that can go into behaviour that can lead to public order concerns or a breach of the peace. And it's a very difficult balance they've got to strike. And you know, there's not an unlimited right to freedom of expression or free speech. There are limitations, and there's a balancing to be done. But I'm quite clear in my own views. We should go as far as we can to uphold that really important and sacred principle, and that includes discourse about religion. It's a great thing about our city. You can have these healthy debates, and it doesn't come to blows or leads to animus, but it's a healthy debate. And one of the great things about our city, by the way, is the response from the Christian community to what happened in Christchurch. That solidarity shown by the Archbishop of Canterbury, by the Bishop of London, by the Christian communities and the Jewish communities and the Hindu communities and the Sikh communities to the Muslim communities is one of the reasons we should be proud to be Londoners. And that's why I don't want to end that sort of debate that takes place and curtail that healthy debate.
Discourse between religions about religious ideas is specifically protected in the Public Order Act. But I think specifically what Christians would like to know after this incident, and also in any guidance that might come out, is specifically, are they allowed to speak or read out any part of the Bible in London without fear of being arrested?
Chair, I've got to confess, I've not read the Bible, all the versions, and I'm not sure. But I mean, that's a question really for a lawyer or the police, not for me as the mayor.
Okay, maybe you've answered as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your answers, Mr.
Thank you very much.